Welcome to Morrisound Studios for a brand new podcast that I am working on with my friend Shane Borczuch. Shane is a Canadian, I'm an American, and we both love metal. So we're going to be throwing the horns for you each week and giving you our 2 cents in what's going on in metal, new releases, big tours, that sort of thing. So we're throwing down episode 1 for you guys right now. So Shane, I'm very excited about doing this. What are your thoughts here on this first episode, dude?
Oh hell yeah, man. I'm pumped, man. You know, I always love talking about metal, finding out about new albums and sharing that. You know, I love stumbling across something special that just makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
That's for sure, man. And we have worked together now for a few years as a co-host with me on some of the Murder Metal Mayhem podcast episodes, which is, we both know, is a mashup of true crime and heavy metal. So this is going to be different. So, you know, what kind of metal do you foresee us talking a lot about here, Shane?
Well, you know, metal nowadays, there's so many genres and they seem to bleed into one another. So, you know, historically, actually, I'm not into genres and labeling things, so I'm probably a bit ignorant about all the types of genres out there. It's more like if I like something, I like it. I really don't care what genre it's in.
Right.
But, you know, that being said, this is probably going to be mostly death metal and thrash metal and every kind of combination and permutation of those two that you could think of. And that's my bread and butter anyways, and we both like more metal than just like that and that, whether it's, you know, doom, groove, tech, melodic, progressive, whatever. You know, we like different things, but it's mostly going to be thrash and death.
For sure. And I'm wondering if we could turn it into a drinking game, Shane, of how many times the two of us say the name Bolt Thrower
Yeah, no
in these episodes. So we both love some Bolt Thrower, boy. We talk about a lot of the Bolt Thrower influence bands. There's so many of them, but I just thought that was funny. And, you know, we might have to have some kind of battle. I'm not sure how to do it yet, but of what's better, poutine or biscuits and gravy. Of course, poutine from your country. It's good stuff, though, dude. What's your favorite kind of poutine, Shane?
Oh, I like all kinds of poutine, man. And poutine it comes in many different flavors. You know, pierogi, Mexican, chicken, Korean barbecue, you name it. You can get anything poutine. So
that's
just
awesome.
The variety alone is just crazy. It's a main course, not a side dish, man.
So for anybody that doesn't know what the heck we're talking about, it's fries, cheese curds, and this brown gravy, but it's really good. I made it from a company. I bought the mix from Montreal, and it was really good. I really liked it, but I would love to try, quote unquote, the real thing. And then biscuits and gravy, of course, are a big thing here in the U.S. In the Midwest and South, I didn't even hear about them until I moved to the Midwest, but it's good stuff. So I thought that might be fun. Maybe we'll do a poll on the channel. We'll see. But it would be an epic battle, man, because I happen to love both of them. And I mean, looking at me, and I'm Italian, you definitely know I like to eat. So they're both really, really good.
Yeah,
now,
from what I've seen of your pictures of the poutine, man, you did a bang up job on it.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Now these episodes are going to be released as videos here every week on the channel, so make sure you subscribe. Also, please like the video, leave a comment because it really helps get the video in front of more people. So that really helps. Speaking of metalheads, you know, spread the word to your metalhead friends, tell them all about it. And, you know, get in the pit with us, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be throwing the horns every week. So, all right. Well, that's kind of what I think about this first one, Shane. It's going to be really cool because this is a new venture and I really like talking about metal too. So we're going to be doing this here for you guys every week, and it's going to be awesome. So I'm going to throw this up here, Shane, and wanted to see, what have you been listening to here lately, man? I know you been wanting to talk about some of this here.
Oh, hell yeah. You know, my poor phone, it's just fucking full, 128 gigs, and it's all metal. I got so much on there, I can't even keep up. But, you know, this week I got myself a bottle of Ouzo and I headed to Greece. Everything I've been listening to here is all Greek, and started off with some Suicidal Angels. And these guys are on Nuclear Blast, just dropped a new album March 1st titled Profane Pair. Profane Prayer, pardon me. Suicidal Angels is just great thrash metal. I've been listening to them for a few years now, and they never disappoint. They're four-piece out of Greece. They've been in the game here for like 20 years, and they got 8 albums under their belt, so they've been around for quite a long time.
Yeah, you turned me on to them, and I had never even heard of them before, and I listened to them. I really dig it. I haven't listened a lot to this one. I think it was the one before it or a couple before it I listened to, and I really like these guys. Like you said, they're from Greece, some great metal out of Greece.
Very Slayerish. You know, it's just classic sounding top tier thrash metal. There is some hints of death metal in there, but no doubt about it. This is just classic thrash with lots of catchy riffs. You know, it has hooks and great transitions, and these guys, they've actually supported the big four when they were going through Greece, you know, the Anthrax, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer.
Oh, wow.
So they did play with them. So they're pretty big in Greece. And this new album, Profane Parent, man, it goes hard. And I would expect nothing less from these guys. It's lots of old school thrashing in the vein of Slayer, Exodus, Creator. So if that's your groove, man, you can go check this shit out.
Nice.
The other thing I've been listening to here is some Spider Kickers. Love the name. These guys just dropped a new album titled Necro Supper about a week ago. They're a four-piece out of Greece as well. They're on Sleazy Rider Records. And I don't know if you remember, Pete, a couple weeks ago, I sent you a link to a band called Trench War, and they're also on Sleazy Rider Records.
Love those guys.
Yeah, another great album by those guys. And so Spider Kickers here, just heard of them, and I'm pretty impressed. But they have been around a long time, too, since about 88. They put out 7 full-length albums. It's very aggressive death thrash, has a bit of groove behind it. Definitely has an old school feel, you know, and has that 80s, 90s death metal vibe to it. Has
Love
good
that
mix
cover,
of tempo.
too. That cover is
sick,
wicked.
It's a good mix of old school death metal, has a mid-tempo beat along with some blast beats, and vocals are more on the death metal side of the fence. It's kind of like a cross between Slayer and Legion of the Damned, and so, you know, if you like that vein of stuff, you go check this out. And like I say, I love the name.
The name is so wild. I'd love to know what the deal is with that. You know, I'd love to ask him what that's about. I'm sure it's an interesting story. Yeah, that definitely jumped out at me too, like Spider Kickers. What's that?
What the fuck?
And then I see this album cover. I'm like, damn, that looks pretty wicked, you know? And so I checked it out after I saw you had it in the notes, and I was like, damn, I really dig it. So I agree with you, man. These guys are killer.
It is killer. And how about you, Pete, there? What have you been spinning to in the last little bit here?
Man, I'll tell you, I've been jamming a lot of stuff. I mean, as always, there's so much coming out. But this Ingested album, The Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams, love the album cover, first of all.
Oh, that's sick, eh?
Yeah, it's really wicked. Now, I never really listened a lot to Ingested, I must say. So this was what I first heard about, but I did go back to the album before it, and I do like that one maybe slightly better, but only because there are some parts of this that get a little bit into some areas I'm not a huge fan of. I don't mind melodic vocals in like classic or power metal, but mixed in with the heavy, I'm not a big fan. And they do a little bit of that here with different guests and stuff. But other than that, this album kills it. I mean, it's heavy as all hell. The drummer is like ridiculously good. I mean, there's double bass stuff. There's some blast beats, which I'm not a huge fan of excessive blast beats, but this guy just putting on a clinic back there. So these guys are really good from the UK. What do you think about them, Shane?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like you say, it has different sections to it, but all in all, it's just a great album. It is very aggressive, very fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And these guys, kind of like what you were talking about with the other band from Greece, is, that these guys are from the UK, but they've been around for a while and they've got a lot of releases out there. So if you want to go back and check them out, if you're not familiar, listen to them, but they do evolve. And I mean, a band can only write, the album once. Some fans don't understand that. They want, Slayer to keep writing Rain and Blood after Rain and Blood, and you just can't,
No,
so
you gotta mix it up. You gotta change things.
So yeah,
you gotta progress.
Yeah, I'm not faulting these guys for changing it up a little on this one. I just, like I said, there were a few things, but I'm still listening to it. I like it, man. Graceless. I really dig these guys. Just recently found out about them. This Chance from Purgatory album is really great. Love the cover. It's a little different with the yellow there. It just kind of drew me in. Love the logo too. It's readable and it's got, just a cool metal vibe going on. Definitely made me want to check it out. I don't even remember if it was a Bandcamp type thing. I get a lot of emails from different labels and the bands from Bandcamp. I buy a lot of stuff there. So I don't know because I lose track of where I find out about some of these, but I really like these guys. And the albums they've done before this are also good too. So
I haven't heard this one, but I did hear their last album, and yeah, they're pretty damn good, man. Very old school death metal, very raw sounding.
Right. Yeah. I mean, these guys are wicked. I think I advanced ordered this one and then it came out, or I can't recall now, but yeah, I really, really dig these guys. Really, really good stuff. And then I know that we were both on this one, this Severed Sanity, man, Malefic Procession, badass, really, really good death thrash out of the U.S. I think they're down in Texas, if I'm not mistaken, but really, really killer, man. I really dig these guys. Really good bass tone on this album, really thumping. We talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm a bass player by trade, and so I hear that probably more than most listeners. But man, when it's there and it's present, it's not just in the background, man, that just thumps, and this guy brings it, and I really, really, really am impressed with that.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, man! This is a killer album, and that's the first thing that popped out of me too. Is like these guys know how to mix the bass, and you say it's not overbearing, but you can definitely hear it. And
right.
Like I think it has a bit more death and thrash to it, but there is a lot of thrash in it, and like the second track is just a total thrash throwback.
Exactly. Yeah, there are some songs that are more thrash than death, but I like the way they mix it up. I mean, they definitely make it their own. I really like everything about it. The vocals are good. Just the drums, everybody's killing it, but the bass tone just popped as a first thing that I noticed about it. It was different because usually
definitely an impressive album.
Yeah, definitely. And then this one, a band I never even heard of before, kind of an odd name, Withering Surface. Really like this song. They released this single, Where Dreamers Die. Kind of an interesting piece of art to go with it, a little different. And this is from their upcoming release. This song is pretty heavy. Their other stuff, the album before it, was a little bit too mellow for my taste, a little bit too, they're very unique. But I like the style of this. It's a heavier sound. I like it more, so I'm hopeful, because I did advance order it. I'm hopeful that it's going to sound more like this, and this isn't like one song that's real heavy and then the rest of it's not. Kind of like Dream Theater did to everybody with Pull Me Under. Everybody thought that album was going to sound like that, and it's like, no, I mean, it's not a bad album. I mean, but it's not all Pull Me Under, that's for sure. So
yeah, no, it's a decent song, and I checked out the band a bit, and there's just the members of the band. They have such a range of different stuff that they've done. It's going to be interesting to see where these guys take it.
Yeah, and I think they're a Danish band, if I'm not mistaken. So much good metal out of Denmark. We talk about that all the time.
Oh, hell yeah.
Really, really good stuff. So
something in the water out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So really, really love talking, like you said, about metal and what we've been listening to because there's just so much of it out there. It's really, really crazy. And another thing I didn't mention because I didn't have the artwork up there is Skeletal Throne, a really great death metal band from Mexico. They have a new single out called Voces. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Really, really good stuff. They sing in English. I don't know about this track. I've listened to it, but it's some pretty guttural death metal, so it's hard to pick it out. But great stuff if you like old school death metal, that's for sure. Really like them. So Shane, what are some new releases getting ready to come out that you're kind of psyched about, man?
Yeah, well, without going too much into the future here, I mean, there's a lot of great albums coming out this year, but in the not too distant future, anyways, I'm looking forward to hearing the new Deicide.
Yeah.
And also, I know 6 Feet Under has a lot of haters, but I'll be checking out their new album too. I like a lot of their stuff. I'm sure there's going to be some couple good moments on the album anyways, and
we'll see how Chris Barnes does this time.
Oh, hell yeah.
Last one was
Alt
a
metal
bit rough.
side of me, I'm looking forward to hearing the new Melvin's album, and there's a new album dropping from Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, so I'm looking forward to those as well.
That's cool. Yeah, I definitely have some things I'm interested in. That new Tombstoner album, Rot, Stink, Rip. Those guys are cool, man. I really dig it.
Yeah, I like it.
That single they released is really good. I know you liked it too. You had a good analogy of who you thought they sounded like to you.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if it sounded like, but they just gave me that Cannabis Corpse vibe to it. You know,
Right.
it's just fun metal, and I'm looking
Right.
forward to hearing this whole album.
Yeah, definitely like those guys. So now, Shane, I know we've been talking about the article that was recently published about Morrisound Studios in Florida, and I've got the shirt on here that I'm wearing tonight.
Hell yeah.
To record
The sick
this,
shirt.
the Morrisound shirt here. So why don't you tell our listeners what that's all about?
Oh, hell yeah. You know, most of us geriatric metalheads here are going to recognize the Morrisound Studios. You know, they're just an iconic recording studio in the 80s, you know, since 81, actually. So many great iconic metal bands have recorded just killer classic death metal albums at Morrisound. You know, bands like Sepultura, Death, Deicide, Obituary, Cannibal Corpse, Malevolent Creation. You know, they've all done recordings there with the legendary producer Scott Burns. And so anyways, their original historic location is getting a historical marker from the Hillsborough County Historical Advisory Council. They're
That's
honoring
awesome.
the studio with a plaque to acknowledge its contributions to the music industry. So yeah, that's pretty fucking cool to see such an iconic recording studio to be recognized, especially since it's a metal studio.
Yeah, I mean, it's legendary, like you said.
It is.
And this picture here just blows my mind because the first band I was in when I lived in Connecticut, we recorded at a studio down in Stamford, Connecticut, or somewhere down there called Presence Studios. And it looked exactly like this. Exactly.
Oh, that's very cool.
The
Has a
board-
very retro vibe, eh?
Yeah, the board, the floor, that console in the middle, the couch behind it. Like, it's bizarre how much it looks like Present Studios. Now, it's kind of funny because Present Studios was close to where Sally Jesse Raphael, that talk show host, used to do her show. And she used to do all her voiceover stuff in the studio. So that's kind of funny. And at the time, she was pretty popular. So we thought that was funny with us being a metal band recording in the studio where she did her voiceover stuff. But yeah, that's what made me think of it. It just looked like that. These old school mixing boards. You know, everything now is done on a laptop and Pro Tools. And this is like old school. And I remember recording like this, and punch-ins and punch-outs were tough to do on a console like this as compared to what it's like nowadays where everything's all automated. So really, really cool just kind of looking back on that, man. Definitely.
Yeah. So in celebration of this, there's Scott Burns. In
Yeah.
celebration of this, Morrisound Studios is releasing a commemorative T-shirt. On the back, they're listing 20 of their best-selling death metal albums to come from the studio. And on the front, well, you can see the front of your shirt there, Pete. It's got the Morrisound logo on it. And
Right.
so it's just a sick shirt. And even though they're being awarded a plaque from the Hillsborough County Historical Advisory Council, strangely enough, they still have to pay for this plaque out of their own pockets. So the T-shirt
Right.
sales are going directly to fund that.
Right.
So if you like Pete's shirt there, go check out their webpage, get yourself a piece of metal history here.
Yeah, I'm going to link to that down below if you want to get yourself this shirt, because it's really cool, fits good, nice quality. As Shane mentioned, this is on the back, all these top 20. I mean, God damn, you look at that list.
That's just a hit list right there, man. That's great.
I mean, you cannot name, I challenge somebody to name a death metal band of today that would honestly say that there wasn't one of these 20 albums, if not all 20, of an influence to them.
Hell yeah. This
is just as iconic as it gets in death metal. And this isn't all the stuff they did. I know Creator recorded there. So there's other metal, good metal that they did.
Yeah, this is just the top sellers.
And the death metal stuff. So yeah, I mean, pretty impressive stuff. So very cool. I think that's great that they're being recognized like that. It's just such a important thing for metalheads for sure. So I've never been there, never been to Florida, so would have loved to have checked it out though. So I don't know if you heard about this, Shane. I saw something on Blabbermouth or somewhere I saw this. There's this new metal supergroup that just got signed to Metal Blade called Category 7, kind of a unique name for a band. Doesn't really tell you what it is or, anything like that. But man, John Bush on vocals, of course, Armored Saint, Anthrax, Phil Demmel, Kerry King, Machine Head, of course, on guitar, Mike Orlando, who I was not familiar with, on guitar as well, but Adrenaline Mob, and then Jack Gibson, love his playing. He's from Exodus. He's on bass, and then Jason Bittner, who's the drummer for Shadows Fall and Overkill, on drums. I mean, damn, that's a hell of a lineup, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And I read the little bit of stuff that they were releasing from, I think it was John Bush, said it's definitely heavy and it's thrashy. So I'm really interested to hear that. I love his vocals, man. I really do.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like very promising. Definitely a solid lineup. I'll be checking this out. Yeah, Armored Saint, they've had a couple good songs. The one I remember is Chemical Euphoria, and then they have one something about Saturday Night Special or something like that.
Yeah, they did redo Saturday Night Special. Yeah, that was actually a really good remake. But yeah, I really like Armored Saint. I'm friends with Joe, the bassist. Just really, really like him. We did an interview on Murder Metal Mayhem before, but Joey Vera is just a really good dude and a great bassist, and so I've always followed them. I've always liked them. So
you'll be one to watch for, anyways, because that's definitely a solid lineup.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anything yet like sounds, so I'm really anxious to hear a single or something. But yeah, we'll keep you posted. Well, Shane, it was a lot of fun talking some metal with you. What did you think, man? Did we pull this off, or did we make complete asses out of ourselves?
Fuck yeah, no, I had a great time, man. And that's the beauty of the internet, Pete. There's just so many layers of idiocracy, so I think we did good.
I think so too, man. I think so too. So if you guys are listening or watching, if you like true crime and you like heavy metal, then you definitely want to check out the Murder Metal Mayhem podcast, because we do both. And we also have a channel here on YouTube, and I'll link to that down below. If you like the episode, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything. Like the video and drop a comment, even if it's just some horns. It helps get the video out in front of more metalheads. So let us know what you've been listening to, or any topics you want us to cover. We'd love to hear what you guys got to say. And I think we've given you guys plenty of metal to go check out, and let us know what you think about it. I'll link down below to the Bandcamp pages of the bands that we mentioned so you can go support them. I try to do that as much as I can, and I know the bands appreciate it. Got to support that underground when we can. So, well, Shane, I think our job is done here. So what the hell do we need to do, man?
Let's throw the horns, man.